Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Thank you everybody that asked questions on my Game of Thrones videos this weekend. There's been so much news lately. They just cast Max von Sydow as the Three-Eyed Raven. Now, I think they recast the role probably just because they're going to be doing a lot more scenes with him and they just want an actor that they feel is up to the task. I guess that's a bummer if you were a big fan of the last actor to play the role, but really he was only on screen very briefly at the end of season 4. So I mean it's not like The Mountain where they were in like big extended scenes and then they were recast. They've recast The Mountain 3 times. The guy that's The Mountain right now, the big guy that started in season 4, he's the third person to play that role. It's just further confirmation that there's going to be a lot more Bran stuff going on in season 6. There's still a few people that they haven't cast yet, so just expect more news like that to start rolling out in the next month or so. Do not be surprised though if they just opt to not do a casting video this season. They could totally do that. They might try and keep as many secrets as possible. Hopefully HBO will confirm some stuff, but if we don't get that casting video, then I'm not expecting a whole lot. On a question, so here we go. Overkill asks, do you think the show would introduce glass candles and Maester Marwyn in Samwell's storyline? Like if Samwell goes to the Citadel, glass candles, they would probably just have as a prop, and they wouldn't call them out. You would just notice them in the foreground. As far as Maester Marwyn, I'm not expecting him just because his plotline in the books is already dramatically diverged from what they've done on the show. Without explaining which book storyline he's associated with, I'll just say that several characters that are associated with that specific storyline have already been changed. So yes, we will get Archmaesters, but they might not be really notable ones from the books. It might just be an offhanded thing. It depends on how many scenes we get with Samwell. I'm not expecting a whole lot, at least not outside of his family, because it looks like they're casting his family. So most of the substantive Samwell stuff will probably happen with those characters. The only thing I'm really expecting from the Citadel in terms of scenes and exposition and plot is him just pouring through documents. I don't think it's going to be like Hogwarts or anything where they do extended class scenes. Just remember though that there are 2 more seasons after season 6, so even if we don't see a whole lot of the Citadel, we could see more in future seasons. Next question, Katie J asks, where do you think the showrunners will go with Randall Tarley's plotline? I would say, mostly tied up with what Samwell is doing and with what's going on in King's Landing. Samwell's concerns are up at the wall, and Randall Tarley's are not currently, but he's probably going to try and tell his father about what's been going on. Based on the way he said that he is perceived by his father, his father thinks he's a total fool, and he doesn't want him to become a maester, so I'm not expecting Randall Tarley to listen to Samwell a lot. Just remember, Samwell's family is from the Reach, so they are bannermen to the Tyrells, so if any conflict erupted, then Randall Tarley, legendary battle commander, would probably fight with the Tyrells against the Lannisters, or the Baratheons, depending on how you think about it. Next question, Miffy asks, since Hannibal is cancelled and Mads doesn't have any projects that you know about, do you think the producers would get him to be Euron? Ooh, I'm sure there are so many actors that they talk about when they're picking the big characters from the books, but there have been no comments officially about Mads Mikkelsen joining the cast. I do get a lot of Mads Mikkelsen questions whenever I do Euron stuff in videos and I use his picture. That's just because he looks the part. That's not because he's been cast or anything. It's just for fun. So if I use his picture is not because he's been cast. It's just that there are certain characters in the books that when you talk about them and you look for pictures, there's nothing. There's not a lot of media for really obscure book stuff. So you kind of have to get a little janky with it. When I use Lily Collins pictures for Lyanna Stark. There's not a lot of Lyanna Stark artwork out there. Mads Mikkelsen is great though. It'd be wonderful to have him on the show, but I'm not a huge fan of them casting big actors just because they're big actors. I'd rather than pick someone obscure if it's going to be more appropriate. So be careful what you wish for when you want really big actors to come on TV shows. So sometimes they tend to overpower the narrative with their celebrity. Next question, Roger asks, with all these HBO changes being announced, when do you think we'll get more on a prequel? I would say, most of the prequel talk will probably start picking up around season 8, as we head into production of season 8, or even during season 7, so it's going to be a while. Typically, big networks don't announce stuff like that until contracts are signed, so it's one thing to say, we would love to see a prequel. It's completely different for them to say, yes, we are doing a prequel, because that would imply that they've actually assigned people to develop it. They've got actors that they're testing for certain roles. In the last year or so, George R. Martin has said that Dunk and Egg is being discussed. If you haven't read that yet, you'll get another chance. This fall, the books are out of print, but this fall they're combining the 3 Dunk and Egg books into a compendium called Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It doesn't come out till October, but when it does drop, I'll give away a bunch of copies. Next question, Joseph asks, do you think that Bran will ever physically leave the cave in season 6? No, I don't think that he's ever going to walk outside that cave again. I think he's stuck there for the rest of his life, however many hundreds of years he ends up surviving. The three-eyed raven, when he meets him for the first time, says, "You'll never walk again, but you will fly." That just means he's going to be warging into birds. But the raven also says that darkness will be his friend, and that's kind of a metaphor, but also a literal thing. It's dark underneath the tree, but darkness also implies something a little bit more sinister. So hopefully they'll explore that in season 6. I don't know how many Bran scenes we'll get, but if they're casting a really badass actor, then he's probably going to be on screen for a while. Next question, Aditya asks, if they do a flashback to the Tower of Joy, will they recast Sean Bean or cast someone younger that looks like him to play Ned? No, I think that with his character specifically, they would probably just try and age him down with a combination of like practical makeup and CG. The reason they didn't do that with Cersei is because there was like a 30-year gap that they were trying to close. The Cersei in the flashback is closer to 10 years old, and Ned Stark at the Tower of Joy is only about 16 years ago, so the leap isn't quite so dramatic. Next question, Jake asks, do you think that Randyll Tarly will approve of Samwell if he sees him in season 6 and hears about him killing the White Walker and saving Gilly? So you're saying, like, will he be happy, think that Sam turned into a success? No, absolutely not. I think he's going to hate Sam no matter what. Well, maybe not hate him, but he'll be mean to him no matter what. It just sounds too amazing from a story standpoint that his father would disapprove of him no matter what he did. Like Samwell saves the realm, like season 8, Samwell saves the realm in the War for the Dawn. Randyll Tarly still doesn't like him that much. Some people are just assholes, and no matter what you do, you will never please them. And I think that's what Samwell's relationship with his father is going to be. It's a lot like Tywin's relationship with his children. Even if Jaime did everything that Tywin wanted, he wouldn't jump across the table to give him a hug or anything. Plus, don't you kind of feel like that's Samwell's lot in life? That no matter how good he is, like, Gilly is the only person that's ever going to show him any kindness outside of Jon Snow. And who knows when Samwell's going to see Jon Snow again. Next question, Ellie asks, how did Jaqen H'ghar end up in the Kingsguard in season 2 when Arya saved him? Well, he was probably there because he wanted to be there. Someone that skilled just doesn't sit around. He could totally pick a lock if he wanted to. He might have been in King's Landing on other business, but I think he saw Arya and just saw an opportunity. There's this big conversation that goes on with fantasy stories about the idea of destiny and predetermined events. There are gods in A Song of Ice and Fire, so how much are they trying to influence the lives of individual people? I feel like that's not what Game of Thrones is about. The reason that I think so many people like it is because it kind of flaunts that trope, in that characters, they might have some sort of implied destiny, but they still totally have free will. So people are free to make terrible, terrible decisions. Jaime Lannister is probably the best example of that. If there was some sort of grander plan that Jaqen was on, like if he was specifically targeting Arya Stark, if there was no other reason for him to be in King's Landing, then I think we'll learn about it during season 6. But just remember, during season 5, Jaqen H'ghar said that it's all the same to the Many-Faced God, implying that the Many-Faced God doesn't micromanage the lives of individual people. Next question, Leon asks, do you think if Jon is declared dead by the Night's Watch and he gets resurrected, he'll no longer be a member of the Night's Watch, as his oath states, "It shall not end until my death"? So you're asking would he leave the Night's Watch? I know a lot of people have been asking this question. I'm not sure why, because I feel like even if he was freed from his oath to the Night's Watch, he would still have to deal with the army of White Walkers, and the Wall would be the place where that battle is going to go down. So it's not like he's just going to ride off into the sunset or anything like that. If you do want to get really technical, yes, he would be freed from his oath to the Night's Watch, but that would assume that Alistair Thorne and the other authorities at the Night's Watch recognized that he died and then was reborn. So there's a couple hoops to jump through that they might just sidestep. The only way I see him leaving the Wall is if he gets co-opted by the White Walkers. Because just because he's getting resurrected doesn't mean he's automatically going to be good. There are multiple ways that he could be resurrected, and usually when people do get resurrected by the Red God, on the better side of things, their personalities change dramatically. So the Jon Snow that we get back won't be the one that died. Next question, Ali asks, why is Cersei going to go through with the trial? I assume just as soon as they let her go, she was going to destroy the High Sparrow and his followers. Well, the problem with that is that she is part of the few, they are part of the many. That was the High Sparrow's response to the Queen of Thorns when she threatened to cut their grain off. The High Sparrow was just saying that the peasantry outnumbers the nobles many, many times over, and he has the popular vote right now. The entirety of King's Landing hates the crap out of Cersei. That's what that whole walk of shame was about. Everyone was like, you're terrible, you're trash, I'm gonna throw trash at you, we hate you. So even if Cersei were to try and use the City Guard or the King's Guard to try and put down the High Sparrow, they still have like 10 times, 100 times more people that they could marshal. So even though Cersei isn't stuck in a black cell like Tyrion was during Season 4, she's still going to be forced to sit trial. Thank you so much, everyone, for submitting questions. Not as many Ian McShane questions as I thought there was going to be, but congratulations to this week's giveaway winners. So Shield Beats and Beth Laterza, you guys both win Amazon gift cards. It's just a $20 Amazon gift card. Message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact info. What I'm going to do for my next bonus video is just a character video based on some of the people that I've been talking about. I haven't made a separate Season 6 playlist yet, so like all of the Season 6 videos I've been doing and the bonus videos are in the Season 5 playlist for Game of Thrones. So if you want to see like all the stuff that I've done, like you haven't browsed the playlist yet, I'll put a link in the description. But usually anytime I do a Game of Thrones video, it goes in like the Season 5 playlist. Right now, it's like my master playlist for everything. In related WTF news, if you guys haven't seen, I did a Deadpool video this morning. There's going to be a trailer, a Red Band trailer tomorrow. It's going to be so much fun. So you can click here to check out that Deadpool video and learn what's going on with that if you don't know. And you can click here to learn all about Game of Thrones 8th season plan and the prequel. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
So, get ready to blow out your collective sphincters, because my trailer is coming.